Saquon Barkley absolutely in his bag tonight. Jordan Love injured. Could it be an ACL? Could it be a high ankle sprain? We're kind of unsure at this moment in time. He was sitting on the sideline. I imagine if it was an ACL, we'd see more attention in his direction, but it could be an ankle situation. We'll have more on that later. I'm refreshing X as we speak, seeing if Schefter, Rappaport have anything at all to report on this, but it's either going to be a high ankle or it could be a potential knee injury. So hopefully that we got good news at some point during this live stream. Saquon Barkley scoring 3 touchdowns in today's game was an absolute monster. We're going to break down the entire game. Jacobs getting in his bag as well at the end when it didn't seem like he was going to do much at all in this affair. We had a lot of people jumping off the Jacobs train, and he ended up finishing with 5.3 yards per carry. So what a turn of events. He had more yards per carry than Saquon Barkley. Jacobs had 16 totes for 84 yards, and people were writing him off for dead by halftime. He also had 2 catches for 20 yards. So Jacobs ended up salvaging his day a little bit. At the end of the day, not a huge fantasy outing. Jaden Reed, 138 on 4 receptions, a touchdown. A.J. Brown, 5, 119 and a score. We're going to go over all of that as well as the injury for Jordan Love. We'll get into it right now. The Fantasy Football Show recap edition, Friday Night Football recap edition. Graveyard Show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live!
Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
All right, so here we are recapping this game, and it was quite a performance by a few of these players, these fantasy football monsters. Here's the score at the top of the screen: Green Bay Packers and Eagles putting on a show. At first, it looked like it was going to be a garbage situation, but then the field conditions were awful, and then the game started getting in a groove. 29-34, Eagles win. Botched a handoff or a botched snap at the goal line, which would have had a tush-push touchdown for Hurts, and we would have had more numbers for Hurts. That was very disappointing, but Jaden Reed comes in strong. Barkley's an absolute monster. We have we're gonna have quite a bit of overreacting Oscars and people that come in here and try and, Monday morning quarterback these situations like this guy, Niners King. Nice call on Jacobs. Nice call on Jacobs, Smitty. Guy had 5.4 yards per pop. Okay, so nice try, but no, not on my watch. Some of you don't, you reach. You have no way to at all rip on someone like Jacobs who got 5.4 yards per carry in a horrible game condition. Very slow start. Started ripping them off. And while at the end of the day, the numbers aren't, something that's going to win you a week, this is not a bad effort for this guy. As we look at these numbers, let's go down all the league winners or the week winners. Barkley, 24 totes for 109 and 2 touchdowns rushing. He pulled in 2 for 23 and a touch. A.J. Brown was in his bag, 5 receptions for 119 and a score. Devonta Smith, 7 receptions for 84 yards, no touchdowns, but was steady. A good 7 receptions, led the team in receptions. That was good. Hurts with 33 rushing yards. He would have had that touchdown and another 2 yards added to that. Barkley again had a day. Hurts did have the 2 interceptions, but he did have the 2 touchdowns, 278 passing. On the other side of the football, Jordan Love, 260 and 2 with the 1 INT. Jacobs, like I said, 5.3 yards per carry. You can rip on him all you want. He started getting cooking, and he started looking really good. Emmanuel Wilson, we might need to pick up off waivers. He seems to be a good cuff right now, but keep in mind the rookie Lloyd should be back soon. Reed had 1 carry for 33 yards and a touchdown on top of his 4 receptions for 138 and a touch. Reed was absolutely bonkers in this game. He went absolutely crazy. Dobbs 4 for 50. Tucker Kraft at 2 for 37. Musgrave had 1 target, 0. He had a dud of a game. Christian Watson 3 for 13 yards and 1 touchdown. Watson getting that score was nice. He also had another potential 2 touchdowns. Watson's always sitting there trying to leave you on the edge of your seat. The big story here, other than Reed going nuts for 2 touchdowns and well over 140 total yards, and Saquon Barkely exceeding 100 yards rushing with 3 total touchdowns and having that 23 yards receiving. Aside from those 2 pieces of information, and of course the A.J. Brown buck 19 on 5 catches for the touchdown, we're really here to talk about right now at this moment in time Jordan Love. Jordan Love at the very end of the game, second to last play, was trying to make something happen, and it looked like he got caught up and his knee kind of twisted, his ankle kind of got twisted, and a player landed on it and he bent this way, his knee went that way, and he got helped off the field. And here's what it looked like as he was getting helped off the field. So I'm keeping tabs on X right now. I'm trying to see if there's any update whatsoever. We've got just reports saying Jordan Love helped off the field with lower leg injury. There's no update whatsoever. There's some speculation that it's either ankle. I think there's a chance that it's either high ankle or there could be a knee issue because of the way his knee bent when he got hit. Sometimes you can tear your ACL and walk on it. So just because he was getting help when he was walking doesn't mean that it's not a torn ACL or meniscus tear or just a hyperextended knee, which ends up creating a bone bruise. A bone bruise happens when the knee joint, here's the knee, how it bends. There's the patellar tendon and the kneecap, and so the knee bends like this. When you have a bone bruise, essentially you see the meniscus padding between the 2 joints, right? Well, you can't really smash the bone into bone with the padding there. However, when you hyperextend, you can see how the bone is getting closer to the other knee, other joint without any meniscus in the way. So when you go too far, the bone contacts bone, and you create a bone bruise where the bones collide like that without any sort of meniscus. And then on top of that, you take a look at what's happening to the meniscus. It's potentially tearing. See how it's just kind of smashing that meniscus? And so you get sometimes some tearing and some knee injury that comes with that. You can also have a bone bruise this way if the knee joint slides over and you contact bone to bone. There's a lot of ways that this could happen. There's bone bruises, there's knee ligament tears, there's potential high ankle sprains. We have no idea. Hang tight. Who might be your savior on waivers right now? Justin Fields, who's likely starting week number 1. This is the preemptive week 1 waiver wire board that was put up well before the season kicked off. Likely was atop of the board. Fields was atop of the QB board. A.D. Mitchell's the wide receiver you need to keep an eye on. Wicks didn't do his thing tonight. That's okay. We're not going to land all of these. These are waiver wire grabs. Yoshivas might end up being one of the better pickups this week too. We got Wright, Ford, Brown, Allen, Davis, the Niner running backs. And so that's the waiver wire board, the preemptive week 1 waiver wire board. So Fields might be your savior for week number 2. Do you full load drop on Justin Fields?
Initiate full load drop.
You may have to if Love is injured for any significant amount of time. Very, very, what a shame. Very disappointing that at the end of a game on a horrible field, I don't know how much the field had to do with that particular play. I think we could go back and watch it and make judgments, but this is an awful, awful field condition to put players out on it. It's just like, even Barkley got caught up in the field. It looked like it was almost like it's just muddy and just your feet would get stuck. And Barkley kind of got stuck almost like he'd fallen in a hole, like a 2-foot hole, and his feet were like stuck, and then he got hit right in the knees and he kind of just went down, and he sat out the last drive walking into halftime, and we had some concern of whether he returned. He returned, and he returned with a vengeance, and Barkley absolutely destroyed in this game. Barkley to the moon. Barkley could be, as we've said on the show for months and months and months, could be the touchdown leader in the NFL. He could be one of the top 3 running backs contending for the rushing title all season long. He could be the total yard touchdown getter. He could be number 1, number 2, number 3 in the entire NFL in rushing touchdowns. That's why he's been sitting on the Mars Man list for the entirety of the offseason.
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars men.
And the other thing people don't understand about Barkley's situation
Loads dropping and spinning aimlessly in space.
is that Barkley is playing for money. Barkley's playing for money. He's got a let me see if I can find his money. I think it's right around here. No, that's not his. It might be this one. Here it is. Barkley's contract is a very important thing to look at when you're talking about Barkley's 2024 campaign and what's going to be his mindset, because he signed a $37 million deal that includes $4.5 million in incentives. If he makes the Pro Bowl or all pro team, he gets $750,000, or he gets $500,000 on that one. 2,000 total yards rushing and receiving, he gets $500,000 because he gets a 250 amount at the 1,500 mark. He gets another $250,000 at the 2,000. It goes on and on and on. So the guy gets $4.5 million in incentives, and you can bet your bottom dollar this man's trying to earn his bag. This is his last real big contract, and he's going to look to potentially smash. Barkley, he looks good. He looks so good. In the phrase that I've said all offseason is, you don't know how good Barkley is. I don't know how good Barkley is. None of us know how good Barkley is, because we've never seen him behind an amazing offensive line in a potent offense that lives in the red zone. Lives in the red zone. We've said it all offseason. You don't know how many touchdowns he could score. We've seen him score touchdowns when his offense does not even sniff the red zone. And so the question we've been saying and posing rhetorically all offseason long is, how many touchdowns can he have if he has his home, if he pitches his tent in the red zone on the regular? Will this guy have 2-3 touchdown games multiple times this year? Could he have what we were expecting Henry to have in Baltimore? Maybe 2 or 3 touchdown games, maybe 2 or 3 more 2 touchdown games. This guy had a hat trick, almost had a 4th touchdown. Barkley has started the year with 3 touchdowns. He's walking into week 2 with 3 touchdowns. That's something you hope a running back has through 3 weeks. Like, hey, I got a touchdown in each week. Damn, that was nice. This guy comes into week 1, punches in a total of 3 scores, one of which was a reception. So punches in 2, pulls in another. Just like in the preseason when we saw him grab a nice little dime drop from Jalen Hurts, and we said that's the receiver we've been waiting for in Saquon Barkley. This guy adding that dynamic to this offense. It was not a clean game on either side. There was penalties like crazy in the beginning of the game. It was madness from start to finish, really. And a lot of it had to do with this darn field that the NFL put these players on that was absolutely taking out people left and right. We had a referee that was injured on the sideline because this field was garbage. And I blame the NFL for this. I blame for the NFL for trying to get greedy and try and expand out into a market that, I'm not saying it's not smart to get other countries involved and interested in the NFL, but do the games have to be there? Do we have to put players in danger, put them on flights? And I don't really mind so much week 1 because these players are not like jet lagged. They're not in week number 4 and they're tired, and it's an unfair disadvantage for a team to travel on a short week and do all this while they're in between games. So week 1 wasn't all that bad. I have a feeling that this high scoring game partly had to do with the fact that they're all rested. This is week 1. It's the first go. But they're going to be tired for next week. Both these teams will be very tired for next week. This is an exhausting thing to travel, to do all this. And so, to be honest with you, I just don't enjoy this part of the NFL when they get greedy and they actually step outside of the major fan base and say, let's go appease other markets and leave the regular fan base wanting to watch a game. And this game wasn't too bad time-wise, but there are games that start at like 6 o'clock in the morning, West Coast time, that people that watch the NFL every single week don't get to enjoy. Like last year, Trevor Lawrence played how many times in another country time zone where he's kicking off at 6 a.m. in the West Coast time zone. So I think this is ridiculous. And what really pissed me off is the field condition. The field condition put all these players at risk, And even if they didn't walk away with a specific known injury, we might have a lot of players with some wear and tear coming out of this game where they're just kind of aching all over the place. They stepped wrong in a hole. It felt like it looked like the grass was like this deep, the way that these players were misstepping, and it felt like they were dragging their legs around. They were stumbling all over the place. They were slipping all over the place for sure. But the part that wasn't even concerning wasn't necessarily the slipping, although that was concerning to a degree for sure. It was more so you'd see players' knees buckle. They'd be walking, they unsteady territory. Like Love threw that one pass where he was sitting there. It was almost an INT. Remember that one play, I believe it was in the first quarter, where he like kind of stepped, it looked like he stepped in a hole, and he like, juggled his body around, and then he threw it right to the Eagle defender, who just dropped it, and he would have taken a house on that interception. And then we're like, oh, bad pass by Love. Then they show the replay, and you see Love just kind of like all jostled around trying to throw the football. And it's because of the field conditions. Then Wicks had a drop where we were like, oh my God, Wicks, pull it in. They showed the replay, and Wicks was going to catch the ball, and he like got caught in like a pothole. And then you realize why he was off kilter when he tried to put his hands back on the football, because his body got contorted from stepping in a hole. The NFL's got to do something about this. This is ridiculous. They're not going to do anything. They don't care. They got it all set up anyway. What if Taylor Swift didn't want to do this? Would they stop sending? What if Kelsey and Taylor Swift pick up the phone and say, Commish, hold on. Miss Swift wants to talk to you. Yeah, Commish, this is Taylor. I don't want my husband playing overseas. Yes, ma'am. We won't have any KC games travel abroad, I promise you. This is the way the NFL works. It is what it is. I love the NFL. I'm never going to stop watching the NFL, but it just feels like an absolute circus sometimes when they do stuff like this. This field, nobody checked the field. Taylor Swift runs the NFL. That's correct. That's correct. Appreciate every single one of you in here. I work for you. This is our, third or fourth live stream today. I'm exhausted, but that's okay. We're here to break down the game. We're here to also say to ourselves, what do we do going forward if Jordan Love's out for a significant time? Even worse, what do we do if Jordan Love's out for the season with a torn ACL or some sort of injury to the lower leg that isn't necessarily known yet? Let me pull up the news. We're definitely looking for an update on this injury. I'm beholden to the news right now. It looks like Jordan Love walked off the field after the game with Josh Jacobs and the trainer. They're holding him. Let me see if I can show you the actual footage. So he's walking off the field like this. Okay, that's a pretty good sign. It's not to say you can't walk off the field like that when you tear your ACL. You can. If you have a clean ACL tear and there's no damage to the meniscus, the MCL, you can absolutely walk. It's almost like snapping a rubber band inside the knee. And if you were to do it cleanly without any peripheral damage, which usually in the NFL you have peripheral damage because your knee goes like this and you pinch the meniscus on the side, or you're stretching that LCL ligament, the LCL there, or if your knee goes this way, you're stretching the MCL ligament and you're pinching the meniscus in here. You usually do have multiple injuries in the knee when you do tear your knee. But if he did tear it cleanly for whatever reason, let's just say, worst case scenario, you tore his knee, you could walk on it. Absolutely. Alandis Gary, back in the day, Denver Bronco running back, some of you may not remember that name. He tore his ACL and played an entire second half with a torn ACL. But I don't know. I don't want to cause panic and say it's an ACL. I'm not necessarily saying that. I'm just saying we don't know what the injury is yet. It could be anything. It does seem like it might be ankle. It does seem like it might be a knee sprain. And it does seem like it might be a bone bruise if I had to narrow it down to 3 possibilities, but it still could be something else because we have no information on it. But the fact that he's walking off, he's not on a cart, although could a cart even drive on this field? With all the potholes on this field, maybe there's no access to a cart. Maybe a cart would get stuck and they'd have to call a cart tow truck to get the cart off the field that's got the quarterback sitting on it. Maybe the safest avenue was to grab one person on each side and walk down the cleanest avenue that wasn't touched during the NFL game. Maybe the sideline chalk is the only way off the field safely because this field is full of potholes. Yeah, get a 4-wheel drive golf cart on there, temporary, that's right. Absolute madness, but this is good news. This is very good news to see him walking and not on a cart unless it's negligence to not have him on a cart. Sometimes a player walking off the field is ill-advised and the locker room's so far away you're putting unnecessary damage or you're knocking the recovery time up instead of down by getting off the injury as much as you can. Tough to say. 156 thumbs up. we can do better than that because we got 1,039 people in the building. We got 27,055 subscribers on the channel. Punch that thumb up button, but also subscribe so that you can watch this channel because we go live whenever news breaks. Whenever news breaks, we go live. After games, we go live, whether it's Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Monday. And then we also go live every single Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So 8 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. Additionally, live when big news breaks, and live most midnights drafting on Underdog Fantasy. Promo code Smitty. The link is in the description of the video. Code Smitty gets it done as well. And we're going to be drafting on Underdog at some point. Probably not tonight because we've been live so much. This is a very, 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 very concerning injury for Jordan Love. I will say that there is some hope based on him walking off that we're not looking at a season-long injury, but we'll see. Hopefully that is the case. I'm always going to be fearful of an ACL tear when a knee gets twisted up like that. It definitely looked like it. As for Jayden Reed, where is he ranking going forward? I'm going to get that question all week long. What do we do with Jayden Reed? Do we keep him? Do we start him? Do I sit somebody like, good Lord, what are we going to talk about this week coming up in week 2? When we say this next week in week 2, hey, Smitty, do I start? I'm trying to think of a big name player. Like maybe I have a feeling someone's going to come to me and say, Smitty, do I start Michael Pittman Jr. or a Jayden Reed? That was going to be a very, very tough question to answer. And I'd probably say Jayden Reed. I'd definitely say Jayden Reed, actually. I would say Jayden Reed. Jayden Reed and Xavier Worthy just skyrocketed in value. They skyrocketed in value. They're now both potential wide receiver 2s in fantasy. Worthy's borderline wide receiver 1 in some contexts, I think. But these are 2 players that need to be started in every lineup moving forward. So we'll see what happens. Crazy information. A lot of speculation on what the injury is. And anybody trying to speculate out there without the actual medical diagnosis is just trying to do. They're just guessing as much as we are. So I don't really care what they're saying out there. We'll wait till we get actual report from somebody, and you let me worry about that, Steve. Okay, hit that thumb up button and subscribe, and let's talk about Jacobs too. We'll open the phone line and talk about Jacobs in a little bit. Phone line's not open yet. Barkley, Jacobs. Jacobs had a great day, a better day than Barkley in terms of yards per carry, believe it or not. He had a 5.3 yards per tote. And so the early, hey, Jacobs looks like trash, you throw that out the window. Because this man had a long run of 32. Obviously, a lot of rip came on that, but you can't say that and then not say, well, Barkley's long of 34. How's that factor in? So you got to be fair about this. 16 totes for 84 yards. He needs the touchdown opportunities. I think you put that on Jordan Love. Jordan Love with 260 and 2. Let's say Jordan Love can play. He is a miracle, and he can play week number 2. You might have a dilemma if you're looking at a Jordan Love and another quarterback very similar. Maybe you have Jordan Love and AR5. Maybe you have Kyler Murray and Jordan Love. I find a lot of people have Kyler Murray and Jordan Love or Jordan Love and JD5. Usually, and you know what I'm talking about, there's a lot of you out there that are like, that's me. If you have Jordan Love, it was in a prime position to double up a QB and get a JD5 or a Kyler Murray. It was a great prime position to do the double quarterback situation. Hurts, again, Hurts had a solid day. It would have been much better if Jalen Hurts had a rushing touchdown, but those 2 INTs, they sting in some formats. They barely sting in other formats. 278, two scores, and then 33 yards rushing. And he should have had that touchdown, that brotherly shove touchdown at the end. It was a botched snap, and that's where they do miss Kelsey when they're in those situations and they can't get that handoff right. And they also had a botched snap in the gun in the beginning of the game where there's a lot of turnover on downs because the ball was snapped right into the chest of Jalen Hurts when he was looking around, he was changing plays, and as he was adjusting and he's about to start his cadence, he looks over and gets slapped with the football right in the chest, and they lose the football, and Jalen Hurts almost gets injured on the play. And then they're all flopping around on that horrible field, probably injuring every single one of the players that was in that pile slightly. Everybody just got hurt a little bit, even if they didn't look hurt or report it as being hurt. I bet everybody walks out of that game with a year taken off their life because that field was so ridiculous. So tread, miles being put on these players' tires, it always sucks. Josh with the super chat, he is a $20 hauler. Josh, appreciate you coming in strong with that 20 wad. 20 wad gets immediate attention here. Let me hit this Mars shot for you, pal. Appreciate you. Let's send you to Mars.
To Mars.
To the moon and to Saturn.
To Saturn.
That's for dropping a $20 wad on screen, my guy. Saquon to Saturn, absolutely. Saquon, who is a Mars man extraordinaire again.
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars man. Loads dropping and spinning aimlessly in space. The moon men. Dropping loads in outer space.
Oh, looky here. Why is he here? He's not a starter.
Space Monsters.
he wasn't, but now he is. Hence why he's been on the list. Worthy and Rice, monsters. Absolute straight monsters. Hopefully this man Ben Sinnott kind of does a little bit of the Isaiah Likely thing by midseason. He's on the moon because he's a little bit further away. May not happen in week 1. But look at this lineup here. Look at these monsters. Worthy's such a beast. Such a beast. Reed going crazy. Also believe Jordan Love has a high ankle, low grade. Well, we'll see. We'll see. A lot of people are speculating, but don't necessarily, lock any of that in. Everybody that's talking about it right now, they're reaction doctors, which, I'm a deep fake reaction doctor here on the web, but I'll put my medical knowledge in conjunction with fantasy football and NFL football against anybody's, because we've been doing this 20 plus years. So I could really care less what some other Twitter doctor is saying. So I don't care. But we'll attack it as it comes, and as we get the information, we'll put it up. But there's a lot of speculation. We have no true clue as to what's going on with the ankle or the knee. My guess, because he walked off the field, and we don't fully know, but I'm watching the replay as we see it right now. His ankle gets trapped under, and it most likely is going to be a high ankle sprain versus the ACL tear. But I just want everybody to be prepared that you never know with these things, and just because you walk doesn't mean you don't have extensive season-ending damage. But I do believe that we probably would have him on a cart, unless they just literally, and I'm kind of joking and kind of not, couldn't get a cart on that field. They can't drive a cart like that with the potholes that are on that field. But if I had to guess, I'd say 70% chance it's a high ankle sprain, 30% chance it's something else. So we'll attack it as we go. Josh, appreciate you dropping the $20 hauler. You're an absolute legend and monster. Damn chat laughed at me for asking Reed over Dell. Yeah, but bro, you can't even be mad at yourself. Dell could have the same day, you know what I mean? And I don't think it was a ridiculous question. It's just you drafted Dell higher than you drafted Reed. And maybe if you're drafting over today, that would change. And that's fantastic news for you because you can trade. But you can't beat yourself up over even somebody that had, in the case of like Rashee Rice, and they had London, and they started London. Like we had that question, and I'm going to tell somebody before week 1 kicked off, and this is coming from probably the biggest Reed and Worthy channel on YouTube.
The moon men dropping low.
That you can't sit London. You drafted London in the second round. You're starting London. And so now maybe if we were redrafting today, Dell and Reed would go in the same territory, or Reed would go higher. So you have a good problem on your hands. But, people are going to react to ADP too. And it's normal to do that. And you can't beat yourself up over it. Like Rockout had, I think he had that similar situation with Reed and Dell or somebody. Lifelong Packer fan here, not feeling very good, says J-Max. J-Max, I'm sorry, bro. Hopefully it all works out for you, and at least your quarterback's okay. That's what I would root for. I wouldn't worry about the loss. I'd worry about the quarterback. Wipe your feet, says Josh. Appreciate you dropping the super chat. Chubb's coming in with a $5.99 or $4.99. Says Smitty, Smitty, the GOAT. Appreciate you, pal. 10-team PPR. Mahomes, Bijan, Achane, Pacheco, Chase Brown, Benson, Devontae Smith, Rice, Ridley, Coleman, Worthy. I hope Worthy wasn't on your bench. He might have been. Best show on YouTube. Great. Thank you. And great team, bro. And I don't really move anything yet. I think we wait and let the week play out. But I love the team. I think it's an 8 out of 10, 8.0 out of 10 easily. Atwell coming in strong with a $5 hauler. Drop Rico Dowdle for Chase Brown. I would definitely do that. I'm not saying don't drop your kicker and pick up both of them and make a 2-for-1 trade. Because think about it, bro. Dowdle's a starter. So I drop my kicker. I pick up Chase Brown. I keep Dowdle. And I work trades all weekend until I can give someone Dowdle for free, a starting running back, to slightly, even if it's just one wide receiver move up from an ADP ranking or your mindset ranking, one slight player move up, give them Dowdle, then go back and pick up a new kicker, or maybe your kicker is still there for the taking. But there's no sense in not dropping your kicker or a D if you don't love your D in order to execute on that plan. Had Mahomes, Jacobs, since both slightly underperformed, I'm projected to lose by 10. Who do you start at flex? PPR, Connor, Coleman, BT, Chase Brown, JMO. Connor's your steady Eddie. He still has pretty significant upside, but I'd probably say give me Chase Brown if you want to swing huge, but you could strike out. You very well could strike out, but Chase Brown's the big swing. He kind of has the Worthy vibe to him. Very much could come out of the game doing mashed potato dances and all that. But you very much could come out with the Jacobs vibe. Like we like him, but then it just the game flow is not quite where it needed to be. And maybe he gets game scripted out of a contest where the Cardinals will probably lose the game. So will they be passing, and will Connor get all that work? He does catch the football pretty well. So it's not like Connor absolutely gets game scripted out. But one thing I will say is if the Bengals get out to a very, very big deficit and they're getting hammered because they don't have Chase, they don't have T. Higgins, Chase Brown's either getting utilized a ton and they're checking down to him and he has like a 7 reception game, or he gets game scripted out a little bit and you're not sure that he's going to run much, or they surprise us and they win the game. I mean, there's a lot of things that could happen, but I would say probably both the Cardinals and the Bengals will be passing in the third and fourth quarter more than they'll be running, or at least there's a good percentage chance, maybe a 65% chance that will be the case. And so I probably lean toward Jamar Chase. However, JMO's pretty safe too. I'll go to the chat on this one. Chat, who do we like at the flex? He's projected to lose by 10. Do we go Connor for safety? Do we go Coleman for big swing, huge risk? Chase Brown's kind of in the middle, and JMO is pretty steady as well. I'm probably going to say Chase Brown for me, but that's swinging big. And Ian, I almost want you to come back and ask me tomorrow or Saturday evening, because I don't know, bro. Yeah, Saturday evening. $10 hauler from Sunny, $9.99. Appreciate you, Smitty. Good looks on the pride pick. You were the GOAT. I won 200. Oh, this is Underdog. So here's the Underdog picks right here. Remember the contest your boy said I threw 100 down live on the show on these hires. 2 touchdowns from Jordan Love is 1.5, and he got 2. Saquon Barkely was 64.5. That was a walk in the park. And Jacobs seemed like a walk in the park, but it was a struggle bus to get there. But his was 63.5. He ended up getting 75. So I dropped $100, as you can see down here. Not the biggest payout because I only did 3. But as I said to you guys, I want to do more 3 higher contests on Underdog instead of always trying to rip off the 8 and 7 and 9 pick contest, because I consistently will get like 6 or 7 out of the 8 or 9 right. And I want a chance of narrowing it down to the 3 or 4 really, really safe calls, and maybe just easing my expectation back a little bit and not expecting to get 8 times or 80 times my money. Getting something like 100 to get you 258 is pretty good. So on the show live, I said, let's try one of these. This was the main contest of the evening. We smashed it. Anybody that tailed this one, you smashed too. And if you want to jump in and do an Underdog higher, lower contest for the Sunday games, then all you got to do is hit this link right here. I'll keep dropping the link throughout the show, but we absolutely smashed on this one. Did anybody tail this one and win as well? I'm curious who got this one. Yeah, I see a couple comments on Musgrave. He definitely is non-existent at this point in time, but keep in mind that this is how Kincaid also started, and I'm not saying Musgrave's a lock by any means, but Musgrave has some upside. He might be somebody that takes half a season to get going. It's hard to say. Not every player like that's going to hit. And when you go back to this waiver wire, pre-week 1 waiver wire show board that we had up, these aren't going to all hit. And Ben Sinnott is also somebody we could maybe have high expectations for walking into week 1 and nothing happens. It could happen, but nothing could happen. Sanders could take some time. Okonkwo, these in some cases are wait and see stashes, not necessarily throw them in immediately. Likely is, of course, that player. But, like even Fields, when this board was put up, Fields was not the starter. This board has not been touched since my pre-week 1 waiver wire show. I haven't added a single player. Otherwise, you'd see Hill on here. So this is the old one. And Fields was not starting. Fields was a stash. Penix Jr. is obviously not starting. That is a stash. Taysom Hill, what a great pick. Yoshi Voss, this is before we even had a word that T. Higgins was actually going to sit. So Yoshi Voss has been on here as well. That is the pre-week 1 waiver wire show. Appreciate you. You won to the moon. Appreciate you, Sonny. Make sure you're doing Underdog. Underdog's where we do this. Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty. Links in the live chat. Right now I dropped it. I'm going to pin the link in the live chat this very second so everybody can locate it, but that's where we're doing these higher lowers. That's the only platform on this channel that we rock with. All right, there we go. Appreciate you. All right, let's get through these supers. We got this one right here. We got Eric, appreciate you. Drop Barkley for Smitty. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Barkley's on a tear, bro. Barkley's ready to rumble. Hey, Smitty, Reed had a lot of production with only 6 targets and 1 run. Might need to see another game to deem Reed as a Green Bay number 1 wide receiver. Calvin, this is no offense, but this has got to be coming from somebody that didn't start him. If you started him, you're not thinking like this. You're thinking all butterflies and buttercups and rose petals. In pearly gates. We're not down on this guy whatsoever if we started him, but I can understand if maybe you have, let's say you have Dobbs or you have Christian Watson. This does not sound like it's coming from somebody that's a Reed owner, is what I'm trying to say. But you're not wrong in that, nothing's locked in and set in stone in this world, especially if Love misses 2, 3, 4 weeks with a high ankle, then we don't know what Reed will fully be. But I sense that they'll game plan around getting him some scripted work that's going to be designed for him. A lot of design plays. This is a very Deebo Samuel-esque player. He plays a very wide back-esque role for this offense. And no matter who's under center, I bet there's a lot of design stuff for Reed. And I venture to say that I believe Reed did enough in 2023 to already have earned your trust, really. And all you needed to see was this one flash. You don't need to see multiple flashes. I think he's there. I think he's very much there. And Reed is the number 1. He's the most dynamic player. I can understand where you're coming from if you own one of the other players, but that's what it sounds like. Don't be scared to throw him in there if you own him. $10 hauler coming from Miles. Appreciate you, Miles. And Calvin, if I got that wrong, I'm not saying it in a negative way. I'm just saying be objective of it and realize that he's already proven it. This is not his first rodeo. This is just his first rodeo this year, and he knocked it out of the park. Doing this in week 1, you can ask for more than that. 12-team, half PPR, Gibbs, Achane, Cup, Dell, Richardson, Kincaid, Reed, Coleman. Very good squad. Jalen Wright, Chase Brown, Fields. Love the team. Looking good. Try to trade Richardson and Reed for Love and Bijan. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably do that if Love were healthy, but right now you better have a backup QB spot situation. Maybe Fields can suffice, but you're really rolling the dice there. But I'd probably do it. I'd trade Richardson and Reed for Love and Bijan, and I would start Fields, and I would take that gamble in this situation. So I'm going to Smitty approve this, but not because of Jordan Love necessarily. I understand what time it is with that situation, and I'm okay taking the risk. But make sure you're all over the waiver wire. Make sure you grab a Bo Nix as well, just in case you protect yourself. Because what if Fields doesn't stand there? Aaron Jones and Diggs for Adams or Ayuk. I would probably say give me Ayuk over Adams, but I would take either one over Diggs and Aaron Jones probably. But it's pretty close. Diggs I go back and forth on. I think there's a chance that he does well per start, but there's also a chance that he doesn't. And there's also an additional chance, which is why it makes him risky, that he's too old. Or do I get a better running back? I have JJ, Devontae Smith, Diggs, Worthy. Yeah, you're fine. I mean, Devontae Smith, JJ, and Worthy are your starting wide receivers. I'm not starting Diggs over Worthy anyway. Like, Diggs is your fourth wide receiver. So, yeah, go after an RB. Diggs for maybe, I mean, you could buy low on Jacobs maybe. And maybe some people don't want to do that. Jacobs is panic chamber material for sure. And we'll do the panic chamber. Don't you worry. But I'm also like buying panic chamber players sometimes. And Jacobs might be one of those. Kelsey's kind of one of those. I'm buying the panic chamber Kelsey. There's some risk. But I like the value if it does fall. Same thing with Jacobs. Ford or Amari Cooper in the flex. I'm going to go Ford. I'm going to go Ford, bro. I really think Ford's going to shine. I think Ford's going to give us what Worthy gave us, what Barkley gave us, just a big bunch of joy. A bag full of joy walking in. We got 27,061 subscribers. We're gaining massive amounts of subscribers because you guys are all liking the channel, sharing the channel, hitting the thumbs up, subscribing instead of just watching and not subscribing. I can't tell you how important that is for the growth of a channel. So please, if you're watching, you're enjoying this content, and you're realizing that I'm literally live more than anyone you will ever find in the football space, and especially the fantasy football space, because I go live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. every single Monday through Friday. Rain or shine, holiday, doesn't matter. I'm additionally live whenever big news breaks. So if Jordan Love ended up having a diagnosis of a torn ACL or something tomorrow, or a diagnosis of a high ankle sprain out 4 to 6 weeks, I'm live on it, and I'm live most midnights at midnight. So smash, slap the subscribe button and hit the like button on the way in and out the door. Another subscriber, appreciate you. Thanks for all that you do. Yoshivas or Ridley. I'm gonna go Ridley. If Jamar Chase and Higgins both sit, I'm still leaning Ridley over Yoshivas by a hair. But Yoshivas is a crafty wide receiver 3 play this week if Higgins and Chase are both out. And if Chase does play, he's even said he might be limited. However, I think that might change if T. Higgins is out. You might see Chase expect to be limited, but not really be limited. Trust in Smitty. Keep sending those offers. The fellas got sent out 50 offers to get one great deal. Stop. That no one wants to trade and go get Achan. Wait, what is it saying? Trust in Smitty. I keep sending out those offers, fellas. Got to send out 50 offers to get that one deal. Stop. That no one wants to trade and go get Achan. Okay, Murph, I hear what you're saying. But yeah, you got to send out 20 offers to get one acceptance. That's kind of my rule of thumb. And if you're not getting that ratio, you're either sending two like they're crappy offers that are so bad no one's gonna ever do them, or you're getting more acceptance than that. You're not getting enough. Who dat low $5 holler Smitty? Please rate my team. What is this? Smith. You got two wide receiver. Devontae Smith. And what are we doing here? Oh, you're just putting Smitty in here. I got you. I see what you're doing. Like, what's he doing? Appreciate you. Make any trades. Trade them all for Barkley. All for Bijan. Alex, $5 holler. Saquon running back 1. Been screaming it all off season. Love the content. Smitty, keep crushing it. Thank you, Alex. Saquon's looking good, bro. Love it. Mars man extraordinaire for a reason.
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars man.
Cam, $6.99. This guy still wants Mahomes and Kyron for Brees and Love. He may throw in more too. I accept this, right? Guy still wants Mahomes and Kyron for Brees and Love. I want Mahomes and Kyron by a mile. By a mile. But I feel like I should have Corum. Yeah, I would definitely want Corum. If he doesn't have Corum, can you trade for Corum? I don't know. The phone line's open. Dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
So, I'm sure there's some panic Peters out there. You can definitely attack any questions you have. Dial into the show and hit me with your questions, and we'll. I might phone line dump if we get any sort of amount of super chats flowing in while the phone line's going strong. But Jacob's still a Mars man with no love. I mean, I'm not going to take him off the Marsman's lock, but does he maintain Marsman production? I mean, he didn't have it in this game, but he did yards per carry wise. He was good yards per carry, 5.3. I mean, he started ripping him off. Yeah, Mo just hung up. Mo's impatient. PPR, McLaurin or Chuba. Give me McLaurin all day. Anything can happen, though. Kirk or Ford, give me Ford. Awesome content. Thank you, Tyler. Hit that subscribe button. We're look, subscribing helps this channel. The bigger we get, the better the content, the more live streams, I promise you. So things have always gotten better as we've grown. No doubt about it. Every single subscriber helps this channel get better, bigger, stronger for you. Ron Navy, what's up? Barkley season, Ron. Barkley season.
That seems to be Henry. I mean, Reed showed out.
Of course he did.
I heard people talking crap about Hurts. Well, Hurts had a better game than Mahomes did.
Yeah, Hurts is. I mean, the field conditions were putrid. Like, the NFL should be ashamed of themselves. You know, that's
exactly why. See, the NFL is so fucking greedy.
Ron,
my friend,
Ron,
true. What?
Okay.
We're allowed to say it once in a while.
Yeah, but I prefer the monetization not get hit. But go ahead. Do it without that. But do it without that. Go. Plus the vape shop. Luke has us live in the vape shop.
NFL doesn't. They don't care about the players. They only care about the money, and they're proving it every time. They make them play overseas. They make them play on. I mean, that's atrocious. I mean, nobody's down there looking at the field to make sure it's in playable condition.
I know.
That is totally messed up.
It's
These players should go to the players. The Players Association needs to crack down. But see, that's the whole thing about the NFL. It's all about the good boys. It's all about payoffs. It's all about it's a big scam because the Players Association don't take care of the players, but they're forced to play in these terrible fields in these terrible conditions, and it's just bull.
Yeah,
it's not right.
It's messed up, and the fact that, like, you had the referee get injured, you had there's play after play where we think someone makes a bad play. Like when I saw Wicks drop that pass, I yelled at him. You know, we were live. I was doing play-by-play, and I was like, Wicks, what are you doing? And they showed the replay, and Wicks is going like this to catch the ball, and he, like, hits like a pothole. His body turns like this, and then he tries to grab the ball again, and the defender gets his hand in, and I'm like, that's not Wicks' fault. And then Jordan Love on that pass, he drops back, throws it right in the first quarter, I believe, right to the Eagle defender. I forget who it was. And I'm like, wow, it was a horrible pass. Then they show the replay of Love. He drops back, gets stuck in like a pothole, and he throws the ball, and you understand it. It's like these players, as I said, even if a player didn't walk out with a notable known injury, I bet you they all got injured slightly playing in this game.
Yeah.
Like your knees start to hurt over the course of a season. This is like they played 3 or 4 games in one game. It was horrible. How, like you said, how do you not check the field? I don't understand.
It's like a bunch of country boys getting together to play a game of football in a cornfield. That you know, I mean, that's what it's like, and it's ridiculous. And the NFL, you know, we got to have these special helmets, and we can't have hitting and all this other stuff for the player safety and all that. That's all bull.
Yeah.
That's all that is. Because I mean, for them to have a professional football game on a field like that is ridiculous. Even in the States, I mean, they maintain it to a certain level. Even like your outdoor stadiums, you know, they get muddy and stuff like that, but not that like that. Especially for a first game season opener.
All right, let me go to Mo real quick before Mo hangs up again. Mo, what's up, Mo? You're live.
What's up, Smitty? What's up, Smitty? I just wanted to talk through my team right now. I got Mahomes, and I got Jacobs, and I got Goddard, who played already, and kind of got me off to a slow start.
Yeah.
But I wanted to see if, like, you think it's like a week one type thing, or if I should kind of just keep going with this team. So I got Mahomes, I got JJ, I got McLaurin, Ridley, Jacobs, ETN, and Goddard as my starters. And then I got Chase Brown, and I got BTJ, AD Mitchell, and Jonathan Brooks as that's my main core of my team.
Yeah.
Do you think I should just keep going with this team, or do you think there's something?
I mean, don't trade Mahomes. Like, it's ridiculous. I can't stand, but I also love it when someone's like, Smitty, what are we doing with Mahomes? Like, what in the hell are you talking about? ETN, you got to let him play. Obviously, you just don't. I don't think you're making. You just got to wait. I mean, Jacobs, you're not going to get anything for, bro, because people are having an even worse reaction to Jacobs, who had 5.3 yards per carry. Very, very tough. Out the block. But once he got out of the blocks, like, it was not his fault. You know, he was getting swarmed. So was Barkley. Like, the first couple drives, Barkley and Jacobs were getting swarmed behind the line of scrimmage. It was not Jacobs' fault. And the field conditions, again, like, you watch it in slow motion, you'd be like, oh, that's why he looked so bad on that run. He's, like, fumbling around, slipping. It was crazy. So Jacobs, you can't get rid of him. BTJ, you got to let him play. JJ, let him go out there and do something crazy. If he has like 180 yards on 10 receptions, even if he doesn't have a touchdown, then you can take him if you need to and turn him into two different players. You can divide and conquer. Scary Terry, let him play. Ridley, let him play. There's nothing for you to do. You can't trade a single player unless somebody will give you the upfront value you're looking for JJ. Let's say you could go to an owner that had Achan and potentially a Tank Dell, and you were able to get this now. Sure, I'd entertain those things, but that's it. I'd let these guys do their worst, and when I say worst, I mean their best, and go tear up week one if they can. And the guys that didn't, you're waiting on. You're not panicking on Mahomes, who, if anything, it's so funny to me. Watching that game, you should walk away from that Chiefs game with nothing but, oh my God, the weapons that Mahomes has is off the hook. And he didn't even have Hollywood Brown there. So the season that Mahomes is about to drop is going to be, it's going to be elite and electric. It's going to be big 3-4 touchdown games. He's going to absolutely tear it up. Even if you didn't watch the game fully, and when someone doesn't, when they say something bad, Mahomes had a tipped interception. He had such a bunch of heads up plays where he caught his own, tip pass, and just a lot of great stuff that happened. A lot of drops. Worthy had kind of a drop in the end zone. It was a tough catch, but a drop in the end zone. Juju Smith-Schuster dropped a touchdown, and then you had a 40-yard play call back that could have very much led to another touchdown. This easily could have been a 3-touchdown affair, very simply. So don't react on that. And ETN, hopefully ETN does enough that maybe you even have an option to take him and divide him into two players if you needed to. But wait, do I think your team can win the league? I think you need a couple things to happen. Scary Terry needs to be out of this world top 10. Ridley, same thing, or at least one of them that good. And ETN needs to deliver upon what he did last year. You have those things happen, you're certainly in the mix, but you need to potentially look at a trade, a buy low, sell high entering week 2, but you need to wait.
Yeah. I appreciate you, Smitty.
All right, later, Mo. Steven from Iowa, you're live.
What's up, Smitty?
Whoa.
Thanks for jumping in. Just got off work. Love the show, man, always.
Thank you.
I know you talked about the Jordan Love situation. I'm kind of speculating because I got Jaden Reed on the bench. Going forward, he's a stud. I like how he plays in that offense. He's kind of Debo-esque with them. Worst case scenario, what's going to happen to his stock if Love has situation or a scenario where he doesn't return or is out, half the season.
If Love was done for the year, which I don't think is the case, there's always that possibility. People need to understand that you can walk off the field with the torn ACL. The reason why you normally don't is because in the NFL, as a running back, you usually do not tear your ACL unless your knee goes like this and you tear one of the other ligaments on the side. Whether it goes this way, you tear your LCL. You go this way, you tear your MCL. And there's meniscus damage and all that. So if you had a clean ACL tear, which is certainly possible, it's just less possible in the NFL because of the nature of how the knee injuries happen. There's a good chance he doesn't have that, and he's looking at 3 to 4 games, 2 to 4 games. With Love, he's young. I could see this being like it's a 4 to 6 week thing, and he ends up missing 2 to 3 weeks or something like that. And they're like, oh wow, he came back early. I could see something like that happening. Maybe it's a mild high ankle sprain. There's different grades of ankle sprains. Just because it's a high ankle sprain doesn't mean it's the same as a extreme high ankle sprain. So people are really weird about injuries. They just start writing on it, posting on it, talking about it. A lot of the Twitter doctors and such, and just knee-jerk reacting people out there that would be like, high ankle sprain, he's out 4 to 6 weeks. Not necessarily. Like, is it a mild high ankle sprain? It could be very mild. A severe low ankle sprain is worse than a very mild high ankle sprain. A very high, severe high ankle sprain is sometimes worse than breaking your ankle. So they're all different, and the grades matter, the severities matter. We'll know more, but let's say worst case scenario, he's out 4 weeks, let's just say 4 to 6 weeks. Let's say that's what we're dealing with. Then I think that Jayden Reed is still very good, like in terms of they run him a lot. He plays that Debo kind of wide back role, but you know where I think he probably goes value wise, where we had him before today's game, which was like borderline. You're debating between him and your third wide receiver. You're having conversations about, do I start a player like Hollywood Brown or Jayden Reed? Right now, we're coming in saying we're starting Jayden Reed over Pittman. We're starting Jayden Reed over, guys you drafted in round 5, in some cases right in the round 4 territory. Like, he climbed boards fast. You have people telling me if Jordan Love were magically okay, and they said he's day-to-day, he should play week 2. You're going to have people coming in saying, do I start DK or Jayden Reed? Do I start Devontae Smith or Jayden Reed? That's where Jayden Reed climbed to tonight. And if he doesn't have Jordan Love, I think he does climb back down to the value he was at where he got drafted below those guys, and you're contemplating him over Pittman's and things like that. But tough to say, bro. We're kind of just, we're waiting for the dust to clear and settle before we can make any determination.
Yeah, so you really don't want to obviously sell him right now, obviously, and don't, panic on everything. Just kind of leave him on the roster and just see what comes up. Just kind of a waiting game right now.
Yeah, and there's so many people that, like, okay, so again, I always trying to tell you, like, I'm not trying to say I don't have a medical degree. I don't, but what I do have are a particular set of skills that make me a nightmare for your league mates, if you guys know what I'm talking about. But at the end of the day, I've seen these injuries for 20 years relating to football player injuries, okay? So I've learned the injuries. I know, and you got a lot of people that are going to come on here with their medical degrees, and they don't have the football experience necessarily, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years. 5 years is nothing. I've been doing analyst stuff for 5 years. That's nothing. You blink and 5 years goes by. And they just want to be first out there. So they give you 5 different scenarios, like just like I did. Like, that's the only thing you can do. And then somebody takes it because it's coming from an MD, right? They're an MD online, and they're saying it's either. And then all of a sudden you got rumors out there. I'm reading it in the chat. I'm seeing it all over Twitter. I'm seeing it posted by people that don't know really what they're talking about. They just repost stuff because I see all that. And there's a lot of people saying it's a high ankle sprain for sure. It's an MCL tear for sure. But what they're hearing are people saying these are the scenarios, just like I broke down. It's a knee, it's a high ankle. We don't really know. We have no clue, but there's no way to determine it. And there's some people that try and say, based on the way his body turned, I'm telling you it's a MCL tear, We just don't know.
Yeah.
In the footage
Phone
we
game
saw,
at that point.
his leg kind of goes under, and you can't really even see what's happening with the knee, how it's twisting, or is it the ankle? Is it potentially a broken, a fracture in the leg where he has to have that same surgery that Tua had, the same surgery that Tony Pollard had, where they put an actual post through the knee or the post through the leg, and it's tightrope surgery. Like, there's all kinds of things that could happen. We have no idea what happened under that pile. And he needed help getting off the field, which means that there's something wrong. But maybe it's a sprained knee where there's no ligament damage necessarily, but it's sprained, it's sore. There's a bone bruise involved. Then that's blood supply issue. Bone bruises they can be very, very, very dangerous for the knee if you don't let them heal properly, even though it just sounds like, oh, your bone hit the bone, it's just a bruise, it's fine. No, the integrity of the knee is in jeopardy at that point. So we'll have to wait and see. There literally is no word, and there's no way we could possibly know. The reason we know certain things right away in the medical world, like a torn ACL, is there's an actual physical test you can do to see if somebody tore their ACL. Because your ACL, which you can see in the back of this model, the ACL and the PCL are in the middle of the knee. When you tear your ACL, when we have a patient sit on the table like this, you can grab the back of right behind their knee and pull on it like this. And you can see this model pulling. If you got a lot of lax, that means you tore most likely your ACL. And that's the reason why there's a lot of lax there. There's give. And your ACL is responsible for holding the knee joint tight. And when you tear it, it's sliding around a little more, and that's where you have meniscus damage and such. But that's why you can definitely have an ACL tear test on the field, essentially, where other things you need to go in there and look. And sometimes knee damage, people don't even know what it is until they go into the knee and look. So there's a lot to unpack here, and there's just no way to know. All right, I appreciate you. Appreciate you, Steven.
Appreciate it.
Later. Patel with a $20 holler says, Smitty, for my team, 12-team PPR, 1 flex, Anthony Richardson, Garrett Wilson, Waddle, Neighbors, Worthy, Watson, D-Hop, Gibbs, Mostert, Jalen Warren, Trey Benson. I don't like that you have no Jalen Wright. You got to make sure Jalen Wright is not on waivers. The fact that your bench is very small, or you neglected to put all the players in by design because you're trying to keep the message shorter. Make sure you go check waivers and see if Wright is available, because Mostert and Wright is a absolutely fantastic running back too. Mostert alone is a fantastic running back too until it's not. And Wright's going to potentially be a league winner. And if any of you out there aren't paying attention to the pre-week 1 waiver wire list that we put up before the season started, you need to make sure these guys aren't available on this list. A.D. Mitchell, specifically for wide receiver. Wright, Ford, Chase Brown, Braylon Allen. A list of players here. But Wright could be an absolute league winner. An absolute smash. I don't know what somebody's doing on the phone. There's a lot of scrambling around. I don't know if that's Ramon. When I added Ramon, I started to hear it. It sounds like
Ramon's on the line.
It sounds like you're eating or doing something. So I don't know if you could mute real quick. One of you is making whole bunch of noise.
I'll mute, man.
Okay. It's like, I don't know what you're doing, but
let me know when you're ready.
All right, I'll let you know. So this team's pretty good, bro. I think there's some opportunity maybe to potentially trade away. Yeah, you don't have many moves to make now, but eventually maybe, Neighbors gain so much value. If you needed to use Neighbors to do some sort of divide and conquer, you could. But quite honestly, your team's really solid right now. I think if you can only start 3 wide receivers, if you can start 3 in a flex, then Worthy's in your lineup, and that's fantastic. If you can only start 3 wide receivers, like you cannot put Worthy and Neighbors in because you're starting Garrett Wilson and Waddle, then you need to trade Neighbors or Worthy. I'd rather you trade Neighbors. For something like some sort of upgrade, like you could take your RB room and do something with it. But it's a pretty good team. I mean, Kincaid, Anthony Richardson, Garrett Wilson, Waddle, Neighbors, Worthy. It's solid. And Gibbs, you're like a 7.8, maybe 7.9 out of 10 in my book, which means you're 1 move away from likely being the one of the top 1, 2, or 3 teams without even me looking at the rosters. That's kind of the way I analyze it. Is if I say you're below an 8.0, there's moves to be made. Whether it's a waiver wire pickup, whether it's just one particular trade like I'm talking about. You could potentially trade Waddle for, let's call it a Tank Dell, and then a Jaylen Warren to Pacheco upgrade or something if Jaylen Warren gains some value, or a Jaylen Warren to ETN upgrade, or maybe you turn Waddle into Dell because the owner can give you Kyren or Achane for your Mostert or something. And make sure if you get Wright, then you have trade bait. You either have the ability to hold Wright and Mostert as your running back 2 you'll be able to sleep like a baby because you have both of them, or you can trade them as a duo a lot easier to somebody, especially the Achane owner. But I'd love to get Achane, Wright, and Mostert on the same team, and then you just start both the starters, and you keep Wright on the bench, you start Mostert and Achane, and that could be your running back 2 and running back 3 every single week. My flex is slightly weak since I took a chance on Chubb. Yeah, Alex, there's no definitely. Well, woulda, shoulda, coulda, whatever. Would you start Curtis Samuel or Brandon Cooks? I would say, are any of these guys potentially available, and kick those back to me if they are. But I guess I would say Curtis Samuel. I think Curtis Samuel's got some upside, and Josh Allen talks about him with a lot of confidence, but then he says something like, when he's talking to Kay Adams in the interview, Kay Adams said, "Can you describe your wide receiver room?" And I perked up. I'm like, okay, I can't wait for him to talk about Keon Coleman, right? And she goes, "Who's the one wide receiver that you would call the leader of this wide receiver room?" And he's like, "Mac Hollins." I was like, what? The guy that doesn't wear shoes? And he's like, yeah, he just brings a lot of energy. So he kept answering it from like a positivity, like get the boys together, leadership perspective. And she kept poking around about like, well, tell me what you think of him. And he just kind of listed everybody off, like to do the nice politically correct thing. So, but he did say something nice about Curtis Samuel, saying that Curtis Samuel, they like to get him the ball, hand the ball to him, throw the ball to him. And the way he described him was basically Jaden Reed, his version of Jaden Reed. Will he be as good? Probably not. Will he stay healthy? I don't know. But Curtis Samuel at least has the ability to run the ball 1 or 2 times, catch 3 to 4 to 5 passes, and that's the most you can ask for out of this situation that you got here. And then Coleman or Zamir White, I'm going to go Coleman, but that's preference. Didn't start Reed because I have Debo, DK in London. There's nothing wrong with that. You probably 9 times out of 10 wouldn't even consider it, right? So don't beat yourself up over it. And you had the traveling and all that to think about. So don't even hesitate on giving yourself a pass on that, bro. You couldn't have known. AR5, JD5, Bijan, Gibbs, Warren, Ford. Ford's better than Warren right now. That could change, but Ford's going to be an absolute force, I think, this week. $4.99, Kyren, Corum, Achane, Wright, Dowdle. Dowdle's a good trade piece. Love Achane and Wright and Kyren and Corum. You're good there. Cooper, Kupp, Worthy, Coleman, Keenan, J-Mo, Wicks, Kincaid, Hurts, Tua, any moves. Keenan Allen, trade Keenan Allen away and Dowdle for one player. And that could range, that could be 100 different players. But Dowdle and Keenan Allen for even a Tank Dell is something I would consider, but certainly go higher and then work your way down. Maybe buy low on Jacobs. Maybe you get a Debo. Maybe you get a Cooper Kupp. Like you could surprise yourself at the market value of a guy like Dowdle right now. We buying low on Jacobs in the right price, yeah. Just like we're buying low on Kelsey in some scenarios, if he's dirt cheap. We're getting rid of Kelsey. We're panicking on Kelsey in certain scenarios. We're not really. I don't think we're getting rid of Jacobs or panicking on Jacobs yet. If Love were out 4 to 6 weeks, there's also a world where he runs more. Maybe he's getting focused on more, but maybe they run more. So it's hard to know. But I think that panicking on him, no. I would say he's in the panic chamber, but I don't know that I'm participating in the panic necessarily. Ethan says Smitty MD, and then one more super chat, and I'm going to go over to the Redwood, then Ramon. Ramon. Is it Ramon or Raymond?
Yeah, Ramon.
Okay, Ramon. All right, mute yourself real quick. I'll be back for you, pal. I appreciate you, Ramon. This last super chat here from Coop. PPR 12 team Kyler, Bijan, Etienne, Garrett, Olave, McBride, Jets D, Fairbairn, Worthy, Tua, Jonathan Brooks. Trades. Jonathan Brooks. You know why I like Jonathan Brooks is because people understand what they're getting. They package in the idea that once he comes back, they're gonna get a lot of usage out of him. So I think with some players, you're like, I can't sell him until he goes up in value. And the natural instinct is to say, I can't sell Brooks till he gets in the lineup. But people know what they're buying. So you certainly could trade him right now with potentially Jonathan Brooks and let me see. I love your lineup though. Jonathan Brooks and maybe Olave just because I'm concerned about his receiving situation. You reach as high as you can. But remember that Olave has like second round value. So you have to go to London and above, and even that, some might say I'd rather have Olave. I'd rather have Olave and Brooks, and I get that, and I'm fine with that too. I'm fine with staying. So you have to go almost like into round one, and if you can't do that, ETN maybe. Like if you could use Brooks and ETN if for somebody that's got running back concerns, maybe you're turning ETN into a Gibbs who has a hamstring injury, and people are a little bit worried about him. All right, let me go over to the Redwood. Redwood, you're live.
Hey, Smitty.
What's up?
So, like, my original question was, like, you kind of answered it with the last about where you value Reed. If he's out for the season, does he just kind of go down to like kind of like just a guy kind of thing, or?
If he's out for the season, I guess the best comparable for Reed would be, I mean, think of Garrett Wilson last year. Like, how could he be better than Garrett Wilson? Garrett Wilson's better than Reed. But, like, some might argue, maybe we don't know that. Maybe Reed becomes something great. But I would venture to say most people could be objective and say, yeah, Garrett Wilson's much better than Reed. But, like, look how bad Garrett Wilson was. So can I expect Reed to be a top 15 wide receiver without Jordan Love? No, I can't.
I guess my only argument to that would be, like, I feel like Reed might have more like rushing upside than Wilson, but like if they weren't throwing the ball as much, they might. I don't
True,
know.
but how many yards are you really going to get? 200? 20 points?
Yeah, you're right.
20 points maybe.
And then, so the other thing I'm wondering is, like, are we kind of like panicking on Hurts now that we're seeing how much they're using Barkley in the red zone?
No. Nope. Hurts did good. Hurts it was a tough game, bro. That field was the reason for a lot of mistakes. But Hurts had 2 touchdowns throwing, and he was about to punch in a third touchdown. Had Hurts punched in that goal to go, bobble, third down, they could have done it anyway. Sirianni was tempted to. If they would have punched in that touchdown and didn't botch that snap, he would have 3 touchdowns, and that would have been a top 5 QB play this year with Barkley or this week with Barkley having a 3 touchdown game. So I'm not worried about Hurts at all. Hurts is just, he's safe as can be. And the fact that he didn't score is the reason why everybody's panicking. No one would be saying a word if he scored 3 touchdowns today. How are you going to panic on Hurts with 3 touchdowns? And it's not like one of those things where you say, woulda, shoulda, coulda. Like, they were literally at the 1 yard line doing the brotherly shove, and they botched it was crazy. I can't imagine how many fantasy owners, just including me, were just going like this. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? How do you screw this up? And they got some problems because there were plenty.
Yeah, I feel like Kelsey being gone kind of like caused a lot of, having that new center kind of screwed up a lot.
Yeah.
So my last thing would be, so next week, obviously Love is going to be out. Do I start a guy like Pickens over Reed?
If Love is out, I'm starting Pickens over Reed. If Love is out.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's still a chance. I tried to come in here and say that maybe there's a 70% chance that it's not a knee and it's a high ankle, but these people that are trying to make assumptions now, they don't know. They don't know what happened underneath, there's a lot of footage and a lot of people saying that he popped his knee. It's an ankle. I'm hearing from a doctor it's an ankle. Doctor doesn't know nothing. Doesn't know anything more than we know. We have footage, and that's it. We're all observing and analyzing the footage, but we don't know. We can only guess and speculate. A lot of things can happen when your knee goes in that positioning. But look, the ACL is so easy to tear when your knee just slightly gets off kilter, the top part of the joint with the bottom. And so my first concern, and I even said it in my Discord and I said it in the live chat, when we went live, you can scroll up to, there's probably 10 messages before I even punched the live button. I said, I'm concerned about ACL, because you see this leg go like this, and whenever someone lands on the lower part of the leg or they bend the ankle, people immediately look to the ankle, but what they're not understanding is that his body and weight is keeping his thigh, right here is his thigh, in this position right here, and then another human being is laying on or pushing on the bottom part of the leg, and the only thing holding this joint to this joint are an ACL and a PCL crossing each other in the middle of the knee, and your patellar tendon and your two ligaments on the side. That's what's keeping this thing tight. And the reason the ACL pops like a rubber band, the moment you just give it just the right kind of contorting, is because it's tight. It's a tight rope essentially holding the two joints together like this, and it's pulling, right? It's pulling, and it's taut. And if you were to go like this, it's taut. It'd probably play music. It'd probably play this music if you were to pluck on the ACL. So at the end of the day, I'm telling you, there's a risk the ACL or the MCL or some ligament is torn, but I don't know. I don't know.
Do you know offhand who their backup QB is?
You what?
Do you know offhand who the backup is in Green Bay?
Yeah. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can find this video footage that potentially, we're zooming in on the. Malik Willis is probably going to be the backup.
Sleeper sent the notification out. I don't know if you have that. Sleeper sent like the notification out of his knee popping slow mo.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me see if I can put it. Is this? I don't know if you can see this right here. Is this the one you're talking? Is this the one you're talking about, Travis?
It's like a 4-second video where they zoomed in.
Yeah.
Yeah. They showed it even closer than that actually, but like you can see his.
All right. Let me put it in slow motion.
Yeah.
Let me put it in slow motion, and we'll look at it, but. Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, my first reaction in concern is ACL. It's always going to be whenever the knee contorts at all, just because, like I said, you're misplacing the bottom joint from the top joint, and the only thing keeping it from snapping is or the only thing the thing that you don't want is the two joints to go in different directions, or one to be bent and the other one to be in the same place, because it just snaps. It's not something that has a lot of leeway to it, and sometimes you can even tear it and it doesn't snap in half, but you tear it so much that it becomes useless. It's like stretched out, rubber band that has no tautness anymore. So there's literally nothing that can keep it from. It's just useless. So they end up cutting it out. All right, so let me zoom in on this, and I'm going to go slow motion on this knee. So here's slow motion. Let me put slow motion effect on this and see if we can take a look at it. I think this is the footage that we want. There's probably another angle.
His ankle also got rolled on too.
Yeah, that's why, there could be multiple.
Either one.
There could be multiple injuries in it too. It's not just one or the other. You could have a sprained high ankle sprain, torn ACL, torn meniscus, whatever. All right, so here's the footage in slow mo. Hold on, let me move it over actually. Yeah, it's tough to say. ACL is my first thought. It's my first thought. It's always going to be my first thought when the two joints go in a different direction, because that's how it snaps. It pops it.
Yeah, and if you worry, it could be maybe an ankle sprain too, just because of the way you got rolled up on too.
Yeah.
If you look at this, the same time that knee is popping, that ankle's rolling too.
Yeah, it could be a couple things. Also, your LCL too. If your knee goes a certain way, you stretch your LCL like that because it kind of goes down into the bottom of your leg. All right, well, we'll find out. Appreciate everybody dropping these super chats. Let me get these super chats out of the way, and then I'm going to go to Ramon. Ramon, you haven't talked yet. I'm coming for you right now. Hold on, Ramon. $19.99
No
hauler.
problem. I'll wait. No problem.
Please rate this team. Mahomes, Rice, A.J. Brown, Walker, Kyron, Kincaid, Ridley, Godwin. Very good team. I'm trading Gus Bus if I can with Godwin, or I'm trading Godwin with man. I like your team. I don't touch the lineup, I don't think. I even like Ridley. But Godwin, Ridley, Gus Bus, I'm trying to trade two or all three of those guys to upgrade into a Cooper Kupp or Debo type player. Bendu, if you do that, man, you're in the money. And if that was a $20 hauler, I think, from Bendu. I think. Let me see, Ben. Yeah, that's a $20 hauler. Let's go, bro. Let's go. Appreciate you. I'm sorry I made you wait at all. Bendu, you still here?
Alert. Super chat alert.
Bendu, thank you, pal, for the $20 hauler. Yeah, it's a bummer live stream in that sense that we're talking about a potential ACL, maybe. We'll see. $10 hauler from my boy Jared.
To the moon.
Jared, appreciate you. Jared says 10-man additional flex league. Jaden Daniels, Walker, Chase Brown, Tyreek Hill, MHJ, Worthy. That's a good team. It's a good team. Any trade ideas? I'm probably trying to maybe potentially. I don't think there's much to do until we see Chase Brown get some value and Olave kind of solidify some value, and Ayuk solidify some value. If you're trading any of these guys, and Mitchell's going to probably have a good day. Pollard as well. I don't think he will, but if he does, you can't do anything yet. Maybe upgrading Jaden Daniels or Olave later is the move, or Chase Brown later. But I think you wait. I think because you have Worthy, you have Tyreek Hill, MHJ, Worthy, and Ayuk and Olave. One of those Ayuk Olave pieces can go maybe with Chase Brown to get a big monster RB, or you leave the RBs alone and you use that wide receiver with Pollard if he has a good day for whatever reason to go get a potential monster RB or whatever. So we'll have to see. I'm trying to pull up. Travis, you sent me something. I'm looking at it. I don't see anything.
I tried to send you the sleeper one.
Yeah, it doesn't show it when you click on it though. But I'm looking at this other.
It's on sleeper. If you click feed, it's right at the top. I think that's just to me though. So.
Yeah, it doesn't for mine. But I think we got it. We got it under control as far as the zoomed in. I just don't know. Again, for anybody that missed it, it looks like it could definitely be his knee, for sure, as I mentioned from the beginning. Because right here, this is where we're thinking that it pops, right? Let me show you guys. So right here, if you look at his knee, it pops right. Everyone's saying it's popping right here. I wouldn't say it's popping. It's just, it's contorting, and it could be a knee sprain. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. This is a good team, Jared. I think you'll be fine. And just come out of the week one looking for buy lows potentially. Hurts, Tua, Gibbs, Javonte, Moss, Dowdle, AJB, C. Watt, Higgins, Keenan Allen, Kelsey, IR, Hawkinson. Any trades? I would say Dowdle's always going to be a trade for me. And I've been saying trade Higgins all week long. all week long. Higgins and Dowdle, Higgins and Dowdle, Higgins and Dowdle. Now I don't think you're getting anything for him. Keenan Allen and Dowdle for a Debo. I mean, I'm trading Dowdle for Dell. I'm trading Keenan Allen and Dowdle for Debo, Cup, DK, Devontae Smith on the cheap. Using it to upgrade potentially Javonte into a Jacobs who's doubted maybe right now. Dowdle and Dowdle and Javonte for Jacobs. I buy low on Jacobs. I do. Keenan Allen and Dowdle, same thing. Maybe Keenan Allen for Dell. Dowdle and Higgins for... Maybe Keenan Allen and Javonte for Jacobs, and Dowdle and Higgins for a player even higher than Dell, like Debo-esque, Cooper Kupp, potentially. Something like that. DK. Devontae Smith. Etc., etc. Ramon, you're live. You made it.
Thanks, man.
You made it.
Smitty. Calling in from Miami.
Yeah, buddy.
Love the show. Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
All right, so check it out. So I was drafting half PPR, 12-team league, right? I had the number 12 spot. I had the opportunity to get Gibbs and Kyron Williams. I decided to go safe and get Jefferson and A.J. Brown. So on the way back, 36 and 37, I ended up with London and Adams. So I went wide receiver, first 4 picks. Not ideal, but that's kind of what fell to me. And I made a preseason trade. I traded Adams and Harris for Jacobs. I don't know. I wanted to get your take on the preseason trade. I don't know if you think that's a good bet. I know that Adams is going to get volume. Do you think that Jacobs, at this point, especially with Love out, is going to be a good value with that trade? Or what do you think?
I don't know, bro. I don't know what to think right now, especially with Jordan Love injured. Like, there's no way to tell whether that trade's going to be good anymore. It is what it is. Like, you know, maybe it was good prior to week 1. I mean, Jacobs had a lot of upside. And I think he proved it tonight, too. It was bad field conditions, and he still ran very well. You know, it started off very slow. And the fact that he ended up with 5.3 yards per carry when he had nothing but stacked boxes and penetration into the backfield where he was getting hit by 2 and 3 defenders, in some cases more, while he was still behind the line of scrimmage, and he still ended up with 5.4 yards per carry. It's actually a pretty impressive night, and I think the field conditions didn't allow him to do enough damage. So it kind of sucks, you know, that we're looking at Jacobs with this negative lens right now.
I was worried. One thing I have one flex spot, so it's like I was either going to keep Adams or London on the bench. So for Harris, I feel like I upgraded. Well, after tonight, it's hard to say, but I tried to upgrade running back, and I can get London into my lineup. But I still have Pitts and Hawkinson at tight end. I still have Daniels and Goff at quarterback. And then I went heavy running back. I got all the handcuffs. I got Mason. I got Allen. I got like 5 different handcuffs at running back. But it's tough to say after this. Honestly, after tonight, I'm not sure how I'm feeling about Jacobs. I feel like he's an older running back. You want to get the new blood, but at the same time, I couldn't leave Adams or London on the bench after drafting 4 wide receivers.
I mean, I hear you. I hear you. It's a tough call, bro. What are your trade options right now, or what are you considering doing? What is it that you're wanting to do?
Well, I already made the move. That's the thing. I made the move before Love got hurt.
No, from here on out. Like, what do you have? Do you have any? What are you trying?
Well, I have Connor. I have Connor and Benson, so I kind of have the Arizona backfield.
Yeah.
Then I have Jacobs at running back.
I'll be honest, bro. Adams is a risk. Najee's a risk with Warren. I mean, it is what it is. And Jacobs is a risk now with Love. They're all risks at this point. Unfortunately, there's no way to say that one situation is better than the other right now. Jordan Love could be cooked. I mean, there's definitely. I have another footage here. This right here is pretty bad. So this kind of shows it a little bit better. So here's where you can see it buckle. So watch it right here.
Oh Lord.
You can see it better in fast motion. It does buckle. And buckling usually is a sign that there's a tear. I mean, it usually is a sign. Buckling means that the ACL tears. It kind of like the Achilles when there's a flutter. You see the Achilles go like it flaps because the Achilles tears and it just like it's like boom. And so it definitely goes. You know, the knee just.
Let's say he's out for the year. Let's say he's out 4 to 6 weeks or the year. That's going to affect the wide receivers and the running backs.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, if it's his ACL, he's out for the year. No doubt about it.
Right. Yeah. All right, one last question. I'll let you go. So I'm on the 12th spot. So I got the number 1 spot in the waiver wire. Likely is out there. I do have Pitts. I do have Hawkinson. I have the opportunity to pick up Likely. Probably should pull the trigger and maybe try to use some tight end trade bait, right?
Yeah.
Or I could wait to see what else happens because you never know what's going to happen on Sunday. But how do you feel about picking up Likely first week with the number 1 waiver wire pick?
I mean, look, you got to do what you got to do, man, to get some value. You took a hit. Jacobs could still be very good, but dare I say, he probably doesn't have a chance to be as good without a good offense that's marching down the field. Jacobs now becomes what he was, maybe a little bit better, but what he was in LV, where he's on a team that doesn't sniff the red zone as much. Green Bay's season goes down the toilet if Aaron, especially starting off 0-1. And I mean, this sucks. And I do think the field conditions are hard to blame in this particular exact situation. But at the end of the day, it still feels like this entire environment was just, it's really frustrating. It's really frustrating. But yeah, it looks like it does buckle for sure. And I'm looking at it right now. I mean, you could see.
Would you pull the trigger? Let me ask you this: would you pull the trigger on Likely, or do you feel like Adams? It's a one-off for Adams, or do you, if you had the number 1 waiver wire pick, even though you have tight end, would you pick him up and try to find some trade bait?
What are you asking? I'm sorry. I don't know, bro. On this question, I don't know. Yeah, pick him up. But what else are you gonna do?
Pick him up, right?
Yeah, I mean, what's the other waiver wire guy? Who else? You could wait. I mean, wait and see who emerges in week 1. But you know, if that's the top waiver wire pickup, and your tight end is who again?
I have Pitts and I have Hawkinson.
Yeah,
so I don't know if it's worth burning a waiver wire spot because people are going to pop up week 1, week 2, week 3. Somebody's going to be.
They
available.
could, yeah, they could, or you could trade Pitts. If you line up a Pitts trade and then you can replace him with Likely, then maybe you're back in it. So I would look to maybe trade Pitts away, see if you can do something. If you can't, then you contemplate it, and then maybe revisit during the waiver wire show whether you should put the bid in or not. I don't know. It's too early, bro, and we got to get through all this stuff. So Ramon, I got to go for now. We got to get through this. I appreciate it. All right, later,
appreciate it. Peace out. Appreciate it.
Redwood, you got any final thoughts, bro?
I was just listening. I just heard some breaking news though. I guess the team doctor tore his ACL walking over to Jordan Love on the sideline.
Are you just joking? You mean? I wouldn't be surprised. I tore my ACL just watching the game. I mean,
man, thanks, Smitty.
Yeah, all right. Later, bro. Appreciate you. I wouldn't be shocked if that was true. That's why I asked him. The field's so bad. The referee injured himself. The referee got hurt. But yeah, this isn't looking good. It isn't looking good at all. And I'm gonna see if this has a little bit. The only thing that concerns me is like I'm looking at the footage. You know how people mess with footage now, and you got to be careful, because of AI and everything. And the footage that everybody's using, when I find the actual footage, it pops less, So like, part of me is wondering if somebody, anti-Green Bay person, like tweaked it a little bit, and then it's just spreading like wildfire. But the one that I'm looking at, the actual game footage that appears to be the exact same angle, it's popping different. It's like a less of a extreme So that's what I've been looking at. I wasn't paying too much attention to Ramon. Ramon, I apologize. You're just calling about your team when there's a big, huge thing on this on our plate here. So I'm trying to break it all down, and I can't really decide what to do with your team right now, Ramon. But we'll take care of you on the Waiver Wire show. But I'm sitting here looking at it, and I'm analyzing one versus the other, and I don't see the pop the same way in the actual footage. So I just wonder if that is happening, if there's like two different versions going around and some guy's trolling the whole world. Anyway, Sebastian, you got 30 seconds because I got to end the phone line and I got to get going.
Yeah, all I got to say, hell of a start to the season. I hope Jordan Love is okay. I'm actually pretty concerned about him because it looks like they were already treating like a minor injury, and I just hope he wasn't aggravated, but I do have a feeling he will be. I do have a feeling he will be on IR, but I wish him the best.
Yeah, thank you. He appreciates that. Thank you, Sebastian. Sebastian to the moon. Well, we haven't heard you call in for a while.
Night.
We haven't had you call in for a while, so it's good to hear from you, pal.
Okay, could I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
All right, so I got Xavier Worthy as my last drafted player on a 10-man, and I got Nico and MHJ as my 1 and 2. Do you think I can do Worthy plus a piece to get into that Chase territory, or do you think that's selling them too high?
Worthy and what, though? Give me the piece. I mean, it depends.
Nico or MHJ?
Yeah. I mean, MHJ and Worthy for Jamar Chase right now, maybe not playing week 1. I could see somebody doing that, and I could also see myself hesitating and being not sure whether to tell you to do it on either side. I mean, I like Chase a lot, man. I do. I think week 2 we'll forget all about it. So I kind of want to say take Chase, but at the same time, I mean, MHJ could be top 5. He really could be, and maybe he struggles in Arizona for a little bit before he gets going, but I kind of think he won't, and I think that Worthy is looking so sharp, and the fact that he runs the ball and he's so heavily involved and he's perfect for the system, and I don't think he'd translate as quickly anywhere else. It's just an ideal situation. I'd probably say, like, Chad, are we liking Jamar Chase, or do we want? And the thing about it though is Worthy's already played. So does part of this trade go through, like to where you're getting to use?
Oh, you're right.
I
probably got to wait till after Sunday.
Well, no. Some of these trades in certain platforms, you can actually do part of it, and you can still use the pieces that haven't played. So I don't know if that helps. That helps that person maybe not have to play. They can play, MHJ this week.
Like Nico.
Then all of a sudden they might do the trade. But you can't get greedy and be like, no, I want to do it after. Like, that's part of why they're going to do it, bro. Is because they don't have any.
Oh, no, I'm willing to do it now because it's a 10-man. I just feel like I need that firepower. I don't think Worthy does me any good on the bench when I got HM in my flex.
Yeah.
You know?
All right, man.
That's part of the reason why I just want to trade out.
Chat, vote on it. MHJ and Worthy or Jamar Chase. Vote on it for the year. All right, later, bro. Later. Travis and Ron, any final thoughts from either one of you?
I had a question, actually. Would you... I have Kincaid as my tight end. After tonight's game, since Musgrave dropped a 0 and, the Love thing, people are worried about that, do you think it would be safe to drop Musgrave for Senate and see what happens? He's just my backup, so... Yeah,
I think that's okay. I think after, with Jordan Love in this situation, yeah. I definitely think so.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that right now.
And I have a slow motion video of this, and it does not look good. But again, I just wonder. I'm not saying that I truly think this is necessarily going on, but I just wonder because it does seem like some of these clips look different. It's weird. I almost wonder if someone's altered anything, and then everybody's spreading around an altered version. But this is a very, very interesting version of it that when zoomed in you can definitely see the pop, but again I'm a little bit
good reminder.
I'm just a little bit on
reminder there too.
I'm just a little on edge to trust it because I'm not seeing the same pop at all in the original footage, and I zoomed in on it too. It wasn't like, but it's a little less clear, so I get it that there's. Let me see if I can put it up. I'll put it on my IG too right now, so everybody can go watch it. So here it is, and it definitely shows like a click, and that's what you don't want to hear. The click is very, very concerning, very concerning. And I can even put it in slow motion. I'll let it roll non-slow motion the first time, and then I'll put it in slow motion the second time. So here we go. Let me just put it on duplicate and slow-mo. Let me get this on a 30.30 speed. Hold on, it's rendering. And I'll put this on my Instagram if you guys want to watch it. That sounds so grotesque. Like, hey, you guys want to watch the tear over and over. But, this is important for a lot of people's, team and preparing for waivers and stuff. So I don't think it's crazy. All right, here we go. Here we go. So this is normal speed. You can see it pop. Boom. And then here's slow-mo. So the slow-mo is harder to see it, but you'll see it just kind of like shimmer, right? Boom. Yeah, I think he tore his ACL. You have a lot of people saying MCL. They don't know what they're talking. Like the MCL tear could definitely be a part of this too. But like your MCL, that is your ACL snapping. But
hey, Smitty, real quick, and I'll jump off. Tony in the chat was asking about possible pickups. I don't know if maybe you just came into the show. If you get a chance before the show's over, can you just throw up that waiver wire list for him so he can?
Yeah, definitely go watch the preemptive week 1 waiver wire show too, Tony.
Great episode.
Let me see if I can put this up. All right, anything else, boys? Ron, do you have anything?
Who's Ron?
We get this every year, right? Now, he's the first casualty quarterback. It started out last year. Oh, that's just crazy.
Yeah.
I know. I feel for everybody that has Love. I didn't draft him last year, but I know a lot of people. I feel bad for him. This is stuff we got to put up with. That's why when you do the shows like with Kirk Cousins and you talk about, the best backup, having Penix, they prepared for all this stuff. So
that's why I got a backup, yeah.
Green Bay having Malik Willis isn't the answer really. So
yep.
I don't know. They'd be better off with they would have signed somebody like Flacco or somebody like that. They I don't know what they're gonna do because
there's nothing they can do. Their season's done.
It's not. It's gonna affect everybody. It's gonna affect Reed. It's gonna affect Watson. It's gonna affect the whole team, how they play, and it's gonna affect. Wow. I got a lot of Reed. Might not have had a lot of Love, but it's affecting other players if he's out, which it seems like he probably is going to be.
Yeah. Yeah, Jordan Love, Packers. Let me post this real quick. And it will be on my Instagram. You can definitely see, if you watch it over, especially on my Instagram, it'll replay it over and over. So, you'll be able to get the effect. It's hard to watch it one time through because you're, looking for something and you kind of need to see it on repeat for your mind to, laser focus in. But it definitely, as you watch it, it definitely feels like it's an ACL tear. So let me show you real quickly. I'm posting it on my Instagram. You can go check that out at The Fantasy Football Show on Instagram. And it'll be my most recent video. And so here it is on a replay. And you can see the right here. Watch the little boom. It kind of just shakes and shimmers. Yep, right there. Boom. That's an ACL snapping. Right? Okay, so that you can't tell as much, but slow motion right there. It just kind of breaks. It looks like it breaks, you know.
Something goes.
And on the very slow motion, you can there. Watch, I'll point it out one more time. So right there, you can see it, and then right here, boom. So yeah, probably done for the year. And like I said from the top of the show, and I know a lot of people think, oh, you know, Smitty, you can't, you know, he's walking off the field. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You can walk off the field as long as you don't have, if he has a clean ACL tear, and I'm not saying it is a clean ACL tear, it could have meniscus damage too. But when you have a clean ACL tear, there's no peripheral damage. The ACL is painful. It's not painful. The painful part, because there's no feeling really in the ACL, it's the part is the swelling. When you tear your ACL, you have a rush of swelling. And the reason most people have massive knee pain is because if you tear your MCL or your meniscus or something that's painful with the ACL, and then the ACL tears and it rushes with fluid, and it's almost like your body puts an air cast around your knee. That's why it swells up. That's what swelling is a reaction of the body to protect the joint or whatever is damaged. And so the swelling, it's almost like the swelling's pushing on the torn MCL, it's pushing on the damaged pieces, and that's where the pain really comes in. As the swelling increases, the pressure on the injured pieces that hurt increase. But the ACL itself, you don't have pain. It's not, there's a little bit of pain in the back of the leg, and you'll see when somebody snaps their ACL, they reach back behind their leg and hold behind their leg. That's usually a sign when they hold on the outside back of the leg. That's when you know somebody might have torn an ACL. And that's where the pain feels. So like here's the knee model. So basically, like here's the knee, you're bending, you're looking forward. When someone reaches back behind and holds right here, that's when you know they probably tore the ACL, because it feels like the closest place to get to the pain, the source is going behind it, because you have the kneecap and everything in front. So the person immediately reaches back, holds the back of their leg, and that's typically how you know there's an ACL tear. But the buckling also is the true sign. He might have MCL damage, meniscus damage. I'm not saying he doesn't have any of that, but it looks like it's a torn ACL. All right, we'll see you all later. It looks like I got more super chats. I'm going to get through those. Appreciate you, Ron and Travis. It sucks, man. Later.
Yeah, if this is the last time that you hear from me for a while, because I fly out Sunday, so.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're doing a show tomorrow or not, but.
Yeah, we'll be live tomorrow. So hopefully you stop in before you go. But have a fun trip, Ron. We'll see you in, what, a couple months?
No, I'll be gone about a month. I'll be back
okay.
October 4th.
Okay, we'll see you in a month. All right, later, Ron.
All right, later.
Later, Travis. All right, super chats. Let me get these out of the way here. Anthony, appreciate you with your rate your team. PPR, QB, JD5, HM, Bijan, Cup, Evans, Trey McBride, Keon, benches, BTJ, Warren. Not much to do here, bro. Any moves? No. I don't want you trading these guys. Maybe Evans, but like, what are you going to trade? You know, you're going to trade. No one's giving you anything for Keon. BT, you got to let him earn his keep. Warren, he's been injured. There's nothing. JMO, nobody's going to give what he's worth, and he will increase in value. So I'm waiting. I don't want to trade Achan or Bijan. So it's like Cup and Evans, and no, I don't think I'm moving anything, bro. I like this team the way it is right now. Let it play out, and then we'll attack things once each of those bench pieces gets value. Otherwise, you're getting rid of players I like, and I don't like that. Yeah, or you're buying low. Golf says sent you a link to a slow-mo vid. I appreciate that, Golf. I got sent a bunch of them too, but I did find that one. It's already on my IG, so I appreciate you sending that. But if anybody wants to see it, it's on my Instagram. Unfortunately, I'm not happy about it being on my Instagram, but it's awful, absolutely awful. But it definitely looks like an ACL tear, no doubt about it. Well, I guess there's some doubt. You never know, but it does look like a classic ACL tear. Michael, appreciate the $10 hauler. And I've torn my ACL, so I know a little something about how it looks and feels. I can tell you that. Smitty, best show ever. Every time. I appreciate that. Have love in JD5. Should I drop Steele for Cousins, Nick, Stafford? Go get Cousins and pick up Penix Jr. Make sure you get Penix Jr. as well, Michael. We got to figure out a way to do that. Maybe you drop your kicker for now, and we figure out a 2-for-1 to open up a spot. Thank you again, Golf, for sending me that slow-mo. I did find several versions of it. Sorry I didn't see your super chat in enough time, but I appreciate you dropping that. And Rockout says, can't get on the phone line. Rockout, try real quickly. I am leaving, so just like 30 seconds if you could. But Rockout, dial in. I don't know why the phone line wasn't working for you. Real quickly, John, 30 seconds, bro.
Hey, thanks for taking the call, Smitty. So I have London, and I'm kind of concerned. I know he's kind of a make or break this year. Would it be crazy to go and trade him for Debo, considering McCaffrey has the injury and Debo could get increased usage, or should I just wait for him to increase value? And then
I don't mind either one. I like them both a lot. I could go either way. But, McCaffrey has the injury, everyone says, but he is playing and he's deemed to be ready. So, be careful on how you expect. They're definitely concerned, but we can't expect anything, in terms of that. But I would say, London's a higher drafted player. If we're drafting over again today, with McCaffrey being back and ready to play week 1, I don't think Debo sees an uptick in value. So you're still drafting London ahead of Debo. But I like Debo a lot, but I'm going to probably take London by a hair. But very, very, very close. I love Debo, man. Debo's great. Debo's fantastic, but I'm going to go London.
If you can't go for Debo, who would you unload him for?
London?
Who would you unload him for?
Cooper Kupp if I'm getting crazy.
Appreciate it, Smitty. Have a great night, man.
All right, later, bro. Rock out, dial in, my guy. 716 caller, you got 30 seconds. Who am I talking to? Where are you calling from? Okay. 416 caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
How you doing, buddy? It's Will. We're going to the moon.
Okay, that's good.
All right. We got Patty. We got Saquon was cooking up tonight. Oh, yeah. Absolutely worthy. You fired me up to stardom. It was excellent. We got Debo going tomorrow. I'm looking maybe... I saw you were talking about Henry. You were a little maybe questioning what he had to offer. Should I try and look for Jacobs for someone like Henry?
You mean trade Henry for Jacobs? I could get behind that. But, if Love's out, I don't know that I want to, man.
Trade Henry for Jacobs? I could get behind that.
Can you turn down the show in the background? We got a little echo. I don't.
Oh, sorry about that.
Jacob, this is a nut kick. Absolute nut kick to Jaden Reed. It's an absolute nut kick to Jacobs. We don't have full confirmation yet, but it's looking like an ACL tear. I don't know that I want to jump on the Jacobs train if I'm not, on it. I don't think I'm running toward it. I think Henry, can you go for geez, man.
Let's just a running back that we really trust, really have a lot of confidence in. Who are you feeling this year? Just in that Henry kind of tier.
Obviously, Kyron and Achane, if I could give up a little more to get it done. But then when you get into the Kenneth Walker, that would be my number one target for you.
I like him too. He's asleep. Yeah. Great pick.
Yeah,
and
go get Walker,
Etienne,
or Pacheco.
Yeah, all good picks.
All right, look, bro. Gotta run.
Yeah, take care.
Rock out. Try it one more time. I don't know why it's not coming through. I keep hitting accept and it's not letting me add you, Rock out. So I don't know what's going on with my phone or your phone. But anyway, we'll see what happens. Definitely, everyone keeps saying torn MCL. I'm not saying you can't have a torn MCL also, but the movement. The movement of that knee shimmering is not one of a MCL tear. It's one of an ACL tear. There's probably both in it, but yeah, so again, if anybody's trying to find out, it's on my Instagram at The Fantasy Football Show. So get on over there and look at it. But it's here it is. You can see it. Boom! It just kind of shimmers. kind of like wobbles, it waves. And the Achilles tendon's the same way. When you see like an Achilles tendon tear, it goes, you just see like a little shimmer. It's like almost like the ACL. Like an ACL, it's like a click. It goes. Yeah, it's probably an ACL tear. It's got to be an ACL tear, and it also could be an MCL tear. The reason you get an MCL tear as well is because these ligaments are designed to be tight so that the knee joint is tight. And the way his knee bent, here's the MCL on the inside of the leg. His knee bent like that, and you can see the MCL stretching. See the MCL stretching? The MCL is stretching. Now, he could have snapped the MCL in half. It's possible, but I'm telling you, he'd be in such pain. It would be a whole different thing. You wouldn't see him on the sideline like this. He's on the sideline going, dang it, man. Tore my knee. He'd be like crying. It would be so bad. He'd be on a cart with a towel over his head, literally in pain, grimacing. And when you tear just your ACL, you are sitting there going, because you don't even really, it depends on if there's peripheral damage, but you are sitting there and then you kind of go, is it okay? No, it's not. I can tell. Like, that's how that feels when you do just an ACL tear. An MCL tear, you'd be literally in so much pain. It is the most painful part. When I tore my ACL, I did tear my MCL because my knee did the same thing. It went this way and I stretched the MCL, and that was the most painful part. The most painful part. Rock out, you're live.
Yeah, can I get the whiteboard?
Yeah, let's do this and then I'm out of here. Fast as you can,
all
rock
right.
out.
Quarterback Burrow and Caleb Williams. Wide receiver Lamb, Debo, Neighbors, Reed. And then running back, I got ETN, Kamara, Connor, Hubbard, and Jalen Wright.
Okay.
Any moves I should be making?
You said Connor, Jalen Wright, and who? Connor, Kamara, Connor, Wright?
Yeah, in ETN.
Debo. That's it. Didn't we do this the other night? Connor and Neighbors for a monster. Reed. I mean, I don't know that anyone's gonna trade for him right now. Reed and Connor for Cooper Kupp. Debo's, you got Debo already. Cooper Kupp, DK Metcalf, Kenneth Walker, Connor Reed for Kenneth Walker, Connor Reed for Pacheco, Connor Reed for Debo, or for Kupp, Connor Reed for DK, Connor Reed for HN or Kyron, Connor Reed for Barkley's gone. We tossed Barkley out a lot this week in terms of trades, but those are probably the guys I'm going to get, bro. Or I'm using Connor, or Reed to upgrade Burrow.
All right, appreciate it.
I mean, it's tough to say. We'll have a little bit more to work with, I think, once these guys play ball. Once Neighbors has done something, once ETN and Kamara have done something. It's a good team, though. You certainly got a lot of talent.
I also got DK.
Oh, DK, perfect. Yeah, so you could go DK and DK and Kamara for Kyron or HN, DK and Kamara. Let Kamara do something. I think we got to wait, Rocket. I think you got a lot more power. I like a lot of your players, so I think you got a lot more power once these players pop off. But ultimately, you could use Connor and Reed to upgrade Burrow, and then you could use DK and Kamara to upgrade Kamara, or something like that. You could do 2 trades using the combinations of those players, I bet. That's what I would be working anyway, the angle that I'd be working. All right,
yeah,
Rocket.
appreciate it.
Call in tomorrow, and we'll figure out some more. All right, bro?
Yeah.
Rock out to the moon. Rock out stock is on the rise.
Stock on the rise.
I said Rockout stock is on the rise.
Stock on the rise.
Russell, been a while since I called in. I was trying a moment ago, 7:01. Russell, try again real quick, but like 30 seconds, bro. I'm out of here. I'm too lean. I can't say no. That's why I do 5-hour shows. I need to be tough. Try real quick, 7:01. Try real quick. Racing Boy, 499. PPR 2 running backs, Bijan, Walker, Olave, Devontae Smith. Flex is Achane. My question is, how do I get Worthy in my lineup? You trade Olave or Devontae Smith. I mean, you could go crazy and trade Walker and Smith for, Breece Hall, I guess, for CMC. Walker and Smith for CMC. Walker and Smith for Breece Hall. Walker and Smith for Gibbs and try and get something back. That's one way. Olave and who's your QB, bro? I don't know if you listed your QB. So Olave or Smith and your QB for whatever. I want to get Mahomes. If you already got a top quarterback, then you're just going to do the other option. But that's the only thing you can do, bro. But you got to get rid of one of those receivers. And I don't know whether bench pieces you have, like Olave and a Dowdle or something, could get you a slight wide receiver upgrade. Then you throw Worthy in. Or running back upgrade and you throw Worthy in. 701 caller, or who was that said that they wanted to call in? Was it, what's his name? Russell, real quickly, bro. Is this Russell?
Yes, sir.
All right, Russell, real quick, 30 seconds.
All right, my thing is, I was just going to add on to what Ron Navy was ranting about, and I'm trying to be glass half full. I've been waiting for something to push the NFL over the edge on this field thing. Like, as the concussions kept happening, eventually they started to pretend like they cared. Every year, a few players get hurt at MetLife, and it's always a position player or something. It's never a quarterback. So, like, maybe this game where they go play in Brazil on this crappy field, and I'm trying to be glass half full again, I'm going to say that, compel them to start caring about the fields. What's crazy that we keep playing on soccer fields in these foreign countries is soccer, they care so much about their fields that they're not allowed to step on them prior to games. So I hope a game like this, and I hope Jordan Love's not hurt. Let's say that out loud. That this compels the NFL to finally start taking some of the money they have and putting it into field, like what the Cardinals do with their stadium in Glendale is absurd. Let's figure that out. Stop getting players hurt. Football's better when everybody's healthy. Rant over. I hope I got under 30 seconds. I appreciate your time.
Attaboy, appreciate you. Thank you for calling in. And I agree with you. I think that, I don't know if the NFL is going to do anything, but maybe. The problem is you're going to have somebody say, well, this didn't have to do with the field condition. It was about a knee getting hung up and bent over, and then they're going to act like it's nothing to do with the field. The NFL's all about money, man. I don't know. I just don't think they're going to care. But, hey, appreciate you. I'll see you all later. Thank you all for being here. Prayers up for Jordan Love. Hope it's not an ACL. Go to my Instagram if you want to see the actual slow-mo version of it. The Fantasy Football Show on Instagram. It's my most recent reel that I put up there, and it's on my stories as well. If you click on my face, it'll go to it, but it does look like an ACL snapping. So if you need to check it out for whatever reason, for medical reasons, for professional reasons, go check it out on Instagram, thefantasyfootballshow.com. I'm out of here. I will be back tomorrow. Appreciate every single one of you. Probably do an impact show tomorrow once we know. Where's Jaden Reed now? Where's Jacobs now? Big kick to the sack. Thanks to my mods. Thank you, Blackbeard, Space Ricky, Sick Nasty, Travis, Vampy if he's out there, Terry Roberts if he's out there, and appreciate everybody in the chat, all the super chats. You guys absolutely rock. Thank you to my mod squad. Also, thank you to why do I always forget everybody to thank? Kenny Powers. I always forget to thank Kenny Powers. I know he doesn't do it. He's not in here as much, but Kenny Powers, the moon. Silver, appreciate you being here. See you all later. Unfortunate news.